The first time I saw the smoke, I thought my eyes were lying to me. By the time I pulled up to the east edge of my field, whole rows of corn were already burning golden husks, snapping into black skeletons in seconds. And standing there, arms folded like she was supervising a lawn service instead of watching someone's livelihood go up in flames, was HOA President Karen Denton. I'm Daniel Grady. I used to be a firefighter 30 years on the line, crawling through smoke-choked attics and busted stairwells. When my brother died, I promised to keep his land whole, to keep the corn farm running, even if I didn't ask for it. It was my life now, quiet, steady, honest work. At least until the HOA subdivision grew up against my fence line and Karen moved in. She started small, all smiles and lemon bars, introducing herself like she wanted to be neighborly. But that smile was just rehearsal. As soon as she got a board seat, the letters started. Complaints about my tractor noise about a compost bin sealed tight about grass along the fence being too long. None of it was her business. My land was zoned agricultural long before her stucco houses and manicured lawns existed. But Karen wasn't chasing order, she was chasing control. Then one day she marched to my gate with 2 other board members. Told me the beautification committee wanted me to replace the east rows of corn with hedges or wildflowers because it would improve property values. I laughed in her face. This isn't a hobby farm, Karen. This feeds families. That was the moment her smile twitched, and I knew I'd painted a target on my back. After that, the harassment came weekly. Anonymous articles in the HOA bulletin calling my barn an environmental hazard. Teenagers stopped buying eggs. Even my mailbox was vandalized, painted pink with the word scab scrawled across. Every letter was signed with her neat blue ink. K. Denton. I tried to shrug it off, told myself she'd get bored. But Karen didn't get bored, she escalated. And then came the fire. It was a clear August morning, perfect for harvest. I was driving home from the co-op when I saw that angry black smoke rising. My stomach dropped. I floored the truck copper whining low beside me. When I ran up to the fence, the heat hit me like a furnace, and Karen just stood there, sunglasses on, like she was watching a show. "Did you call this in?" I shouted through the smoke. She pulled her glasses off, blinked once. "Isn't that your job?" "After all, it's your mess." My fists clenched, but I didn't swing. I called it in myself, rattling off wind direction, road access, propane tank locations. Old habits don't die. Engines came fast. My old crew chief even recognized me. We fought the fire, hard-laid hoses, dug brakes, and finally brought it under control. But I knew. Fires have origins. They tell stories in the ash, and this one whispered Karen's name. Near the fence I found a charred canister, the kind used for backyard fire pits, melted black and reeking of accelerant. Not mine. The trail of scorched grass ran right under her hydrangeas. The firefighters saw it too, murmuring, shaking their heads. And Karen. She'd vanished back inside her Lexus, crooked in the driveway like she'd left in a hurry. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the porch, coffee cold in my hands, smelling smoke in my hair, my clothes the wood beneath my boots. And for the first time in years I felt powerless. Maybe Karen was right. Maybe I didn't belong here anymore. Maybe I should just sell, walk away, let her have her victory. But then I remembered my brother's voice telling me to keep the land whole. And when Copper growled low, pacing near the door, I knew quitting wasn't an option. So I went digging, literally. I walked the burn line at dawn and found more canisters, more melted scraps, even a shred of red fabric, and then I checked the hidden thermal camera I'd rigged inside an old scarecrow as a joke. Sarge had been watching. The footage wasn't crystal clear, but it was enough a figure in a red windbreaker slipping through a pried-open section of the fence at 2 a.m., setting bundles in methodical rows, sparks dancing in the night. The stride, the tilt of the head, the way the arms swung tight, it was Karen. I backed up the footage 3 times, printed stills, bagged the evidence. My lawyer, McGree, an old JAG officer, listened quietly and said, "You have the patience, Daniel. Let the fire marshal handle it." So I did. When investigators arrived, the evidence piled up quick. Melted fuel canisters, modified ignition devices, trails of accelerant starting on her side. And when they knocked on her door at 3 in the morning, I was standing 50 yards away, arms crossed. She opened in a red robe, mascara smeared like she'd been crying or pretending to. Polk the fire marshal showed her the canister. She panicked, blurted, "That's not mine. I threw it away last week." Wrong answer. The neighborhood lit up with porch lights and whispers. Phones came out. Karen flailed, pointing at me at the field, but when cameras appeared, she froze. For the first time, I saw fear instead of smugness. They didn't cuff her, but everyone knew her reign was over. Still, she tried to fight back. At the civil trial, she showed up in pearls and a gray blazer, hands shaking. Her lawyer called it a neighbor dispute gone too far. Mine called it what it was: abuse of power. He laid out every letter, every fake soil test, the HOA minutes where she'd literally said, "If we can't stop him through zoning, maybe fire hazards will bring attention." Gasps in the courtroom. Rick, the treasurer, took the stand and admitted she'd pushed them all into silence, that she wanted me to sell or snap. When the judge read the verdict, $147,000 in damages, HOA barred from harassing me ever again. Karen slumped back, eyes hollow. And just as the gavel fell, the DA filed separate criminal charges. Felony arson, destruction of property fraud, 15 years on the table. There was no cheering, no celebration, just the sound of justice hitting hard and final. I walked out into the sunlight, boots still carrying ash from the field copper wagging at the truck. Behind me, Karen Denton's power collapsed like a burned-out barn. Ahead of me, my land scarred but still mine. And if there's one thing fire always teaches, it's this: sooner or later the truth burns through.